Gentlemen, let me ask you something that most men over 60 never say out loud. But here's the shocking part. The real reason isn't age, and it has nothing to do with pills or surgery. In fact, it comes down to a nerve in your body that almost no one talks about. I'll tell you what it is in just a moment, but first, let's see if this sounds familiar. And if we haven't met, my name is Dr. Mei Anderson. I'm a men's health specialist and urologist with over 25 years of experience helping men restore energy, vitality, and performance naturally, without pills or risky surgery. What I'm about to share comes straight from that work. Have you ever woken up, rolled over, and realized the energy, the drive, the performance you once took for granted just isn't there anymore? Maybe you've noticed that your erections aren't what they used to be, or they don't last. Maybe you feel tired at night, restless. Even though you want to be close to your partner, your body just won't cooperate. And I'll bet at some point you've wondered, is this it? Is this just what happens when you hit your 60s? Is the best part of my manhood gone forever? Now here's where I need you to listen carefully, because what I'm about to share with you will feel almost unbelievable at first, but it's backed by science, and I've used it with hundreds of men in my 25 years as a men's health specialist and urologist. And the most shocking part? It doesn't involve a pill, or an expensive device or surgery. It comes down to a nerve that most men don't even know exists. It's called the vagus nerve. And tonight, before you go to bed, you'll be able to use a simple trick to wake this nerve up. And when you do, you'll trigger a chain reaction inside your body that can make the difference between a weak, unreliable erection and one that feels solid, powerful, and alive. In fact, I'll even show you a 30-second move that you can do before bed tonight. If you try it exactly the way I explain, you could feel more relaxation in your body, better blood flow, and even wake up with something you haven't seen in a while, strong morning wood. But here's the thing. That 30-second move is only the beginning. If you stop there, you'll get maybe 20% of the benefit. The real transformation comes when you unlock the rest of the system. The full nightly ritual that charges up the vagus nerve, boosts nitric oxide, and restores circulation right where you need it most. That's why I need you to stay with me all the way through. Because if you miss even one part, you'll be leaving most of the benefits on the table. Now, before I show you that move, let me tell you about George. George is 67, a retired engineer who came to me a few years ago. He had prostate surgery, recovered well, but ever since then, things in the bedroom just weren't the same. He told me, "Doc, it's like I want it up here," pointing to his head. But down there, it's just not listening anymore. George had tried the pills. Sometimes they worked, sometimes they didn't, and the side effects made him miserable. He was about ready to give up. But then I showed him how to use his vagus nerve, a nerve that runs from the brain, through the neck and chest, all the way down to the gut. And why it's the hidden switch that controls relaxation, blood flow, and yes, sexual performance. The first night George tried the trick, he told me he slept deeper than he had in years. By the third night, he woke up with morning wood, something he hadn't seen in over a decade. By the end of the second week, he said, "Doc, my wife keeps giving me that look again. I feel like a new man." And here's the thing, that was only the first step. There are 2 more steps to this nightly ritual, and the second one is where most men notice a dramatic difference the very next morning. So stay with me, because if you stop here, you'll miss the part that actually accelerates the results. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can a nerve in my body be the key to erections? Sounds too simple. But let me break it down in plain language. Your vagus nerve is like a communication highway between your brain and your body. When it's working, it tells your system to relax, lower stress, and sends blood to the right places. Think of it as flipping a switch from fight or flight to rest and restore. Here's the problem. After 60, that nerve gets sluggish. Years of stress, poor sleep, and even certain medications dull its power. It's like having a radio signal that used to be clear, but now it's full of static. And when that signal is weak, your erections pay the price. The trick is not just knowing where the vagus nerve is, but how to stimulate it properly. A lot of men try things they read online, splashing cold water on their face, humming, or deep breathing. Those things are fine, but they barely scratch the surface. What you need is a specific sequence that charges the nerve up before bed, so it primes your body for both deep sleep and stronger, fuller erections. Now let me give you a taste of it right now. If you gently press 2 fingers on the side of your neck, just below your jaw, where you feel your pulse, and massage that spot for 30 seconds, breathing slowly as you do it, you're directly stimulating the vagus nerve. As you breathe in, let your shoulders rise. As you breathe out, press gently in circles. Do you feel that wave of calm? That's your vagus nerve waking up. That alone can help you sleep deeper tonight. But like I said earlier, if you stop there, you're only getting a fraction of the results. Because what most men don't know is that the vagus nerve works in layers. It has branches in your chest, in your diaphragm, even down into your abdomen. To truly unlock its power for rock-hard erections, you have to hit all those areas in the right sequence. That's what I'm about to show you in this video. The exact nightly ritual I've used with men over 60 to restore not just their erections, but their confidence, their energy, and their relationships. And gentlemen, I want you to imagine this. Lying in bed doing a few simple moves, nothing strenuous, nothing embarrassing, and within a few nights feeling changes in your body that you thought were long gone. Picture waking up in the morning, rolling over, and realizing your manhood feels alive again. That's what's possible when you harness the vagus nerve the right way. Now here's something important I need to say before we go further. If you're sitting here thinking, this sounds good but maybe it's too late for me, I want you to hear me clearly. It is not too late. I've worked with men in their late 70s who've reignited their sex life. I've worked with men who thought surgery had taken everything from them, and they found new life. So don't convince yourself it's over. That kind of thinking is the only thing that will truly rob you of results. And let me also say this. If you're the kind of man who gives up halfway, who skips to the end and never follows through, this won't work for you. But if you're the kind of man who's willing to watch carefully, try the steps exactly as I lay them out, and stick with it, then you're going to be shocked by what your body is still capable of. In fact, that's why I created this channel, Vital Health Seniors. Because I've seen too many men robbed of their vitality by misinformation, quick fixes, and half-truths. If you're serious about reclaiming your performance, your confidence, and your health, then this is the one place where you'll hear the truth. No gimmicks, no sugarcoating. And I'll be honest with you, if you click away now and don't subscribe, you'll probably end up back on those other videos that promise the world but leave you disappointed. But if you want real results, subscribing to Vital Health Seniors is the commitment you make to yourself. It's saying, I'm done giving up halfway. I'm ready to see this through. So do that now while you're thinking about it, subscribe, and let's keep going, because the next part is where I show you why this ritual works like nothing else you've ever tried. George wasn't the only man who discovered this. I've had dozens of patients in their 60s and 70s who came to me feeling like their best days were behind them, and every single one of them thought the same thing you might be thinking right now. Doc, is this really going to work for me, or am I just too far gone? And every single time, I tell them this. The only men who never see results are the ones who never try. Because what I'm about to show you doesn't rely on age or luck or genetics. It relies on biology, and biology doesn't care how old you are. If the system is activated the right way, it responds. Period. Now, I want you to think back to a time when your erections were at their strongest. Maybe your 30s, maybe your 40s. Back then, your nervous system was sharp, your circulation was free-flowing, and your hormones were in balance. What I'm showing you here isn't about turning back the clock in some magical way. It's about restoring that same signal inside your body so it fires again. And believe me, when the signal is restored, your body remembers exactly what to do. Here's the deeper truth. Most men think weak erections are a blood problem. But that's only half the story. Yes, circulation matters, but blood doesn't just go where it wants. It has to be directed. And what directs it? Your nerves. Without that proper nerve activation, it's like turning on a hose that's still kinked. The water is there, but it never reaches the end. Once you unkink that hose, once you wake up the vagus nerve, the flow restores itself naturally. And the beauty of this is that the same ritual that strengthens your erections also improves your sleep, lowers your blood pressure, and even boosts digestion. Because the vagus nerve doesn't just control one part of you. It's the master switch for recovery, for relaxation, and for vitality. That's why men who use this ritual don't just tell me their performance is back. They tell me they feel calmer during the day, sharper in their thinking, and more connected to their partners. That's what real health looks like after 60. Now let me walk you a little further into this. Earlier I showed you how pressing and massaging that pulse point at the side of your neck can activate the vagus nerve. That's the entry point, the spark. But what most men don't realize is that the vagus nerve runs right through your diaphragm. And that means every breath you take is a chance to either weaken it or strengthen it. Shallow chest breathing, the kind of breathing most stressed men do, keeps the nerve dull and sluggish. But slow, deep belly breathing, especially before bed, charges the nerve like plugging your phone into a fast charger. Here's how you can try it tonight. Lie on your back, put one hand on your chest and one hand on your stomach. Actually, let's try one right now together. Inhale slowly through your nose. Make your stomach rise, not your chest. Hold for a moment, now exhale. Feel that calm wave through your body. That calm is your vagus nerve switching on in real time. And when it's on, your body is primed for both restorative sleep and sexual performance. Now I know some of you might be thinking, this sounds too simple. But let me remind you, the most powerful systems in your body respond to the simplest signals. You don't need complexity, you need consistency. And here's where most men fail. They try something once or twice, they don't notice fireworks immediately, and they give up. But if you stick with this, even just a few nights in a row, you're going to notice subtle changes that build into something life-changing. First, it's deeper sleep. Then it's stronger morning wood. Then it's confidence, energy, and a body that finally feels alive again. And this is exactly why I share these methods on this channel, Vital Health Seniors. Because I know too many men are suffering in silence, thinking their manhood is gone, when in reality, it's sitting dormant, waiting for the right switch to be flipped. That's why, if you're listening right now and you haven't subscribed yet, I want you to pause for a second and ask yourself, are you really okay with missing out on the very solutions that could bring your energy, your confidence, and your intimacy back to life? If you've made it this far, you clearly care about fixing this, and Vital Health Seniors is the one place where I share the exact steps, backed by science and real patient results. So do yourself a favor, don't just watch this video and disappear. Hit subscribe right now because the men who keep coming back are the ones who get the full picture and actually see results. Now let's go even deeper into the ritual. Because so far you've only seen two parts of it, the neck massage and the belly breathing. Those alone will give you noticeable benefits. But the full protocol is like a 3-step ladder. And until you climb all 3 steps, you'll never reach the top. The third step, the one most men miss, involves stimulating the vagus nerve in the abdomen, the very place where stress, tension, and even poor diet have been shutting it down for years. And this is the move that, once you know it, ties the whole system together. And listen carefully. Most men click away before this part, and that's why they never see full results. If you stay just 2 more minutes, you'll have the final key that makes the difference between small improvements and a complete transformation. Here's how you can do it tonight. Right before bed, lie flat on your back. Place your fingers gently about 2 inches above your belly button. As you take a slow breath in, press gently into that spot. Then as you exhale, release the pressure. Do this for about 1 minute, in rhythm with your breathing. What you're doing here is sending a direct signal through your diaphragm into the vagus nerve. Some men describe it as a wave of calm that runs through their body. Others say it feels like tension melting away. What's happening physiologically is that the nerve is being triggered to activate, flooding your body with acetylcholine, the neurotransmitter that calms stress and allows blood vessels to open wide. And when those vessels open, the difference in your erections is not subtle. I remember one patient, David, who came to me after years of frustration. He had tried pills, pumps, even considered injections, but the side effects scared him. When I showed him this exact 3-step ritual, he raised an eyebrow just like George did. He thought, "Doc, you expect me to believe pressing on my stomach will fix what medicine couldn't?" But within 2 weeks, he came back to my office with a grin on his face and told me, "I woke up with the kind of morning wood I haven't felt in 20 years. That's when I knew he was on the right path. Because once that system reactivates, it doesn't just flicker, it stays alive as long as you keep it nurtured. Now let's be clear. This isn't magic. It's biology. Every man who sticks with this ritual notices improvements not just in performance but across the board. Better digestion, deeper sleep, lower blood pressure, less anxiety. That's the beauty of working with your body's natural system instead of fighting against it. You're not forcing anything. You're restoring what was always there. And here's the truth I need you to remember. You're not broken. You're not too old. You haven't lost your manhood. Your body is waiting for the right signal, and once you send it, everything you thought was gone comes flooding back. That's why I want you to try this tonight. Not next week, not when it's convenient. Tonight. Because every night you wait is another night of lost sleep, another night of frustration, another night of telling yourself, maybe this is just my new normal. And you don't deserve that. You deserve vitality. You deserve intimacy. You deserve to wake up in the morning with energy, confidence, and a body that responds the way it used to. And if you've stayed with me this far, I want to say something important. You are already ahead of 90% of men. Most men click away, they distract themselves, they never give their health the focus it deserves. But you're still here listening, learning, and that tells me you're serious about change. So here's what I want you to do. First, commit to trying the full 3-step ritual tonight. Neck massage, belly breathing, abdominal activation. Takes less than 5 minutes. Second, don't do this alone. This channel, Vital Health Seniors, exists to guide men like you with science-backed protocols that truly work. So if you haven't subscribed yet, do it right now. Because in my next videos, I'll be revealing even deeper methods for boosting testosterone naturally, reversing fatigue, and regaining the spark in your relationship. And those are things you can't afford to miss. Now, I'll leave you with this final thought. George, the patient I told you about earlier, was once exactly where you are now, tired, frustrated, doubting himself. But he made a choice. He chose to give his body a chance. And within weeks, his confidence, his intimacy, and his energy were transformed. If he could do it at 64, there's no reason you can't. Your age is not your limit. In fact, this can be the beginning of your most vibrant chapter yet. But only if you take the step. Tonight, activate your vagus nerve. Watch what happens. And then come back here and tell me in the comments what you noticed first. Was it deeper sleep, stronger morning wood, or more energy the next day? Because those are the 3 changes almost every man reports in the first week. And I want to hear your story too.